Just imagine hearing that buzzing, looking out your window just to see a drone hovering. What Hadel didn't realize is that the camera was still plugged in, so deputies could hear him come back into the living room. Lately, for a lot of people, they go to check their mail and realize that there's nothing there. These photos, this is what state police say both of those men look like. They're most likely in street clothes at this point. Cruz and Claw are considered very dangerous. If you do come into contact with them, don't approach them. Call police immediately. Completely roped off. And this is why. Look at all of that snow. It just crumbled this gas station canopy. A spokesperson said this is a problem area that workers are trying to keep up with. They've replaced these benches. And about 6 months ago, they replaced all of this sand near the playground. She remembered her car had satellite radio. It just hadn't been activated yet. About 10 minutes ago, APD told me they were still searching. They're bringing in more tactical units, in fact, to go ahead and search for those two men they consider very dangerous. Joseph Cruz is a convicted murderer. The east side of Albuquerque just got pounded with snow today. It was on cars. You can still see it on some of the trees here tonight, piled up on the leaves, and for a time it was on the roads, which made for very tricky commutes home this afternoon. Okay, so what we're seeing tonight here in Albuquerque is some wet roads, some of this water still standing here. If the temperatures continue to drop like they have, a lot of this is going to turn to ice. Crews are working diligently throughout the metro and then also in northern New Mexico to clear away some of the snow and sand the roads. But police say in the morning the best bet is to just take it slow, take it easy while you're getting to work or to school.
County 911.
It's an urgent 911 call moments after a 4-year-old was shot in a suspected act of road rage.
I-40 westbound, I've just been shot, and so has my daughter.
That's Alan Garcia. His little girl Lily was dying after she was shot in the head. The first person on the line is a Bernalillo County dispatcher who immediately says this.
Just stay on the line. Just stay on the line. I need to get you to APD, okay? Don't hang up. Don't hang up.
That starts the clock on 31 seconds, the time APD confirms that it took its dispatchers to pick up the call. For those 31 seconds, Alan could only hear this.
Stay on the line, okay?
Calls are answered in the order they were received.
As the scene became chaotic. The message plays again while the dispatcher tries to talk to Alan.
Okay, sir, just stay on the line, okay?
Calls are answered in the order they were received.
Hello?
Please wait on the line.
And finally, seconds later,
Please wait on the line.
County with a transfer.
the call was picked up. But why did it take so long?
APD pulled the records from that day and tell us that between 2:45 and 3 p.m., the same time Lily Garcia was shot, they received 33 different 911 calls.
It's not clear if any of those calls were because of what happened on I-40 that day. And as you know, little Lily didn't make it. She died after paramedics rushed her to the hospital. National standards say those dispatchers need to pick up calls in 10 seconds or less. That did not happen in Lily's case, so the department tells me it's trying to add more dispatchers so it can handle those high-volume situations. For Target 7, I'm Kirsten Swanson. She's got a broken wrist.
He hit me in the head.
Bumps and bruises, but Phyllis Benson says this guy picked the wrong house to break into.
And I said, who are you? And I'm the king of the world, or some stupid remark like that.
Albuquerque police arrested Devon Scott after they say he beat the 76-year-old and trashed her home.
He was really out of his mind.
The commotion woke Phyllis up in the middle of the night. She pressed her medical alert button.
And I was yelling over my thing, please send police help now, he's right here.
Meanwhile, she says Scott tore her bedroom apart.
He was like a whirling dervish, spinning around. He yanked this down. I said, don't you do that.
Phyllis says in the rampage, the suspect knocked this huge hole through the door and then went over to her side of the bed.
So he turned on me with the broom and began swatting at me, whack, whack, whack.
Moments later, officers ran to her bedroom door. Found Scott on the floor and cuffed him. Surprisingly, Phyllis told us she's done being upset about this.
I feel that I've been challenged to help this kid get better in life.
And if she ever sees him again, she'll say this.
You've got to straighten up and fly straight because your life is down the tubes. You don't want this life.
Well, Albuquerque police say this was not Scott's first arrest. Court records show he has an assault conviction and has numerous arrests for disorderly conduct within the last few years. The VA director says his goal is to get every veteran an appointment within 30 days of when they schedule it. Now, to do that, they've started to hire more healthcare professionals, even launched a help hotline. But we found that many times when you call that number, no one's there to pick it up. It's new data that doesn't sit well with Andrew Welch, the new VA director in New Mexico.
Our efforts thus far have been good, but not good enough.
3 clinics around the state and the Albuquerque hospital all have some of the longest wait times in the country for vets to get in and see a doctor. In fact, the Farmington Clinic is ranked 6th worst in the nation, with wait times 5 times longer than the national average.
We're looking currently at Farmington to see what they need, to see if we need to add another provider there.
Director Welch says that is something the VA struggles with in rural parts of the state.
There's just not that many providers at those clinics.
Which is why, under a new program, veterans can choose to see doctors outside of the VA system. And there is another way to get help.
We have a new phone line.
In just a day and a half, VA says 37 veterans have called in. But when we tried to call and speak to someone...
You have reached the New Mexico VA Healthcare System Access Line.
I've called it 3 times, and no one's picked up. It's gone to the voicemail.
We know that the phone calls are getting through, and some of them are rolling over to the message, and so we'll watch that.
What kind of response time can veterans expect then if they call and leave a message for someone to call them back?
Right. It'll depend on, each veteran has their own situation, but we're going to try to get word back to them within 1 or 2 business days.
Now, the VA tells me 6 people are currently staffing that line. It's only open for a couple more weeks until April 23rd. That's because Director Welch said it opened up just to gauge whether or not New Mexico veterans are interested in using the hotline. Esperanza Quintero made a phone call no 17-year-old should ever have to make. Because her friend had been shot, he was dying, and they both needed help.
Good job. Just stay with me, okay? Okay? There you go. Good job, Jaden.
Is he breathing?
He's barely breathing. How many times did the tell you?
And what happened next, she never expected.
Okay, you know what, ma'am? You could deal with yourself. I'm not going to deal with this, okay?
No, my friend is dying.
That was his job. I don't understand why he would have hung up. I cussed at him once. I was frantic. I was scared.
Esperanza watched as bullets flew into a home on Nokomis Drive last month. One of them hit her friend, 17-year-old Jaden Chavez Silver, a star athlete at Manzano High School. She called for help and tried herself to save Jaden's life.
Jaden, one more breath. One more breath. There you go, Jaden. One more breath. Yes. There you go, Jaden.
But then Matthew Sanchez, a 10-year veteran of the Albuquerque Fire Department, brought the call to an abrupt end.
I said, how could he do that? I just dropped my phone.
AFD says emergency services were already on the way, but Jaden didn't survive. Esperanza isn't sure anything could change that.
I don't know if he would have made it or not.
But she wishes Sanchez had done more to help her out.
Just to, hey, I'm here. It's going to be okay. Don't worry. What are you doing? Keep doing this. Just something little. Just instead of what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Where are you at? And then click.
Now she has a few things to say to him.
To him, you know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I gave you attitude or I got upset with you.
But Esperanza says that does not excuse Sanchez's reaction.
Should find something else to do because obviously helping people is not for him.
While all she and Jaden's family can do is mourn. It started with a simple bouquet of flowers and a photo.
Did you see his picture, Papa? What? Did you see his picture up there?
But this makeshift memorial to fallen Rio Rancho police officer Greg Benner now covers the roadside near the spot where he was killed in the line of duty. People bring flowers, toy police cars, scribbled notes in children's handwriting. Veterans post the colors. There's even a Purple Heart medal left hanging near his picture.
We lost a great man. We lost somebody that was out there protecting us.
But with the items that continue to appear, also come heartache and tears.
He's my neighbor.
Oh, really?
He's my friend, our neighbor.
Even anger.
He was supposed to be off duty.
Something has to be done about the system. This has gone too far. Make an example of this low life.
But if you listen closely over the roar of passing cars, a peace settles in.
I just pray that you fill everybody's heart with the Holy Spirit through the Spirit. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
While they pay their respects, they find themselves lost in moments with their own families.
See that candle right there? St. Michael the Archangel?
Mm-hmm.
That's the patron saint for police officers.
Or even perfect strangers.
Thank you so much. God bless you
guys.
Learning more about the man whose sacrifice
Watch over us and take care of us.
has brought so many people together.